All right, when it comes to the creation of the circles that go in the outer rim of this metal object, we know we have 6 circles. We may be able to collect some data as about to the location of those circles, but I can tell you they're equally spaced, and we don't want to have to place each of them individually. We want them to be accurately distributed across that entire rim. In order to do this, I want to teach you real quickly a feature of the move and the rotation tool, which are stacked directly on top of each other. Whenever you move or copy an object from one place to another, you're able to reproduce that or duplicate it over and over again. And it's considered an array function. When you array something equally or equally distribute something over and over again, we're creating an array. So the array function works like this. For this, I've created a little box or object that I'm going to demonstrate this with. So using the move tool, if I grab that object and I move it a set distance, and then I hit the option key, which makes a duplicate of that original object, and in this case, let's say I move it 80 millimeters along the red axis. Once I've done this and I've made this move, as long as I don't click and or use a different tool, the array function is currently available. So in the lower right hand corner, you'll see the array keys that I've hit. I'm going to hit the X key, and then I'm going to hit, let's say, 50. X50. What that's telling is I want to make 50 copies of that move and that copy that I've just created. So if I hit that, you'll now notice that I have a whole bunch of objects created duplicating that original move. I'm going to undo that. So I don't really actually want to make 50 copies of that block, but again, you can see the functionality of it. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do the exact same move over again. I'm going to select that object, and then I'm going to use the move tool once again, and I'm going to move the object. But in this case, I'm going to hit the option key, make a copy, and I'm going to move it much further. Let's make it 200 millimeters. So I moved it a good bit further. And the second way in which the array tool works is dividing or equally spacing in between two objects that you just set. So I just hit the / and I'm going to, let's say I want to place 3 equal segments with inside of that. And what I can do now is equally space that movement and create duplicates with inside of that move. So the array tool has 2 different ways to apply. One is multiplying and reproducing a move, and the other is to divide a move into equal segments in the other direction. So in this case, I divided on the second application. The rotation tool works the exact same way. However, you got to do it rotationally. And I'm going to undo this. So if I select the rotation tool and I pick a point, whoops, I'm going to first need to select the object I want to create the array with. Then using the move tool, I can click and select a point and move that object a certain number of degrees. In this case, I just picked a random 56.3 degrees. Once that is created, again, I can multiply and create 3 more copies of it, or 3 total copies of that object, all rotated equal number of degrees. So this is the function that we want to actually apply to our object. Now, applying this, I'm going to undo this. I'm actually going to get rid of this object because I don't feel that I need it. And I'm going to go to the bottom of this object. And one thing that I've done, I'm just taking a look here at the bottom, I've already laid out where the center of my circle is going to be. So I've actually determined how far in from the outer edge. And for that center, I've created a circle about which all of my circles will be placed. I've also taken a measurement in from the red axis, accommodating for the thickness of the cut, or the gap that I'm going to cut into my object, plus the distance from the cut into the center of that object. So I now know exactly where the center of this circle is going to be. And what I want to do is I'm going to come in here and I'm going to actually delete this other information. And so now I just have the circle placed in its appropriate location. I need to create 5 additional circles equally spaced around this object. So in order to do this, I'm going to select that circle, and I'm going to select the rotation tool, and I'm going to place it. I might have to hold the shift key down to keep myself oriented in the blue direction. And then I'm going to click the outer edge of that circle. Actually, I'm going to select the center. Never mind. That's more accurate as the center. And I'm going to move it, hitting the option key. a set number of degrees. Now the set number of degrees that we were after, pretty simple, 360 potential degrees in a full rotation. And I have six equally spaced circles. So 360 divided by 6 will give you the value that I just entered. And that rotation needs to be reproduced over, again, 6 times. So I'm going to hit X, actually 5 more times, X5. And I now end up with my circles equally arrayed around my surface. And I can then push-pull up from the bottom. So you can now see where all my circles are going to go. As I mentioned already, I want to put my cut, or I'm going to place my cut along my red axis, so that way I have my equally spaced circles. All I need to do is simply push-pull at this point.